Good afternoon, Shawn here with Accelerators Organization, ready for another mentor session. If you need to ask a question right here in the mobile application, just go to the bottom right-hand button, press on that, and then ask a question. The mentors keep telling me we want more questions. They're here to help, so I advise you to just go ahead and ask as many questions as you can. We are here for you. The more you tap into our knowledge, the more we can help you grow your business and get from the stage you're in now to the stage you want to get to. So let's get this thing started. The first question comes from Sam. And Sam says, what do you think about trying network marketing for a first business opportunity? The background is I have a job at my family's grocery and I want to branch out and try to start my own thing. I was thinking about network marketing. What things should I consider when deciding whether this would be a good option? And if I do choose, what are key things I can do to increase my chances of success? Thanks. Okay, I've got about 6 different mentors answering this for you, Sam. And as you can see from the question that you submitted, I modified the question for you because I think this is more what you were asking. I remember being back when I was younger and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I knew that I had this ambition to become financially successful. I liked the idea of being my own boss and being in control of my own destiny. I just didn't know what I needed to do. I came from a hospitality background. So at an early age, back all the way to high school, I was in the customer service business, whether it was working in retail, working as a busboy, working as a chef, working as a telemarketer, working as an insurance agent, working as a waiter. Everything I did was very customer centric and sales oriented. And I had developed years, if not, probably 10, 15 years of sales and customer service skill building, which had a lot to do with communication, listening, personality types, and all of those types of things. I did try network marketing back in the day, and I didn't find success with it because I didn't have a really good upline, and I didn't really believe in the products, and there was just no real system to follow, and so I just didn't do well at it. There are a lot of people that do well in network marketing because they get a really good person who is their mentor and is their upline that really takes a vested interest in training them to get them to be able to succeed and make sales in the business. If you're going to get into network marketing, a couple things. The first is you want to make sure and choose a company that you really, really believe in. It's a reputable company. As you're making your decision, feel free to reach out to myself and the mentors and ask us what we think of companies, because there's a lot of shady companies in the network marketing space. So you want to be careful of those, but there's also some good companies. And the network marketing industry as a whole, when you start to go down the rabbit hole of diving into it, there's a lot of negative connotation to the network marketing industry that you have to learn to get over. And you also have to understand why companies choose network marketing as a distribution system for their products and services. There's a really strong reason why, which I won't get into here, but if you start going down the rabbit hole of understanding about network marketing, you'll see why companies do that and how some companies are successful with using that distribution model for their sales and marketing. If you're going to be successful in network marketing, you've got to be successful in 2 things: sales and leadership. The reason sales is important is because the only way you get paid is if you sell product or service or sell people on the business opportunity. So you've got to know how to sell. I would recommend starting to read books, articles, and everything around learning how to be a great salesperson, understanding personality types. There's a ton of information in the AO portal. If you go into the resource center, into the sales category, there's a ton of great sales information, articles, books, everything to start reading on how to become a better salesperson. Also on the main dashboard in the AO portal, there is an icon for Pro Code Sales. I would start watching all of those videos, okay? The second thing is the reason why leadership is important is because one of the biggest compensation factors in network marketing is building a team, building a downline, and you're going to recruit other people, and then you've got to become a leader for them and help support them so they can become successful, because the more success they have, the more that increases your success rate. Okay, you make more money. Okay, the next question comes from Ricardo. And Ricardo says, what things do I need to get in place if I plan to sell my company? The background is I own a barber shop and I'm interested in learning more of what is necessary to exit this business. What type of things are involved in doing this? Thank you in advance. Okay, I've got 7 different mentors answering this one for you, Ricardo. I've sold a business and I've purchased businesses. I've invested in businesses, so I know this one pretty well. If you're gonna, so one of the things I would do is I would try to go find some people in your industry that have sold a barbershop and start figuring out all the different ways that people have sold their barbershop. For instance, as you know, my barber, he sold his last barbershop to one of his barbers, and he was doing about $450,000 in annual sales, and I think he sold it for somewhere around $100,000. And it was basically just a cash deal, and he also financed some of it. So it was more of a handshake thing. I don't think the person that was purchasing it really did a lot of due diligence. I don't know how much he did as far as checking tax returns and all of those types of things, but it was kind of an informal deal. So there's where you can get a lot of information about what it takes to sell your barbershop by talking to other barbers who have purchased barbershops or have sold barbershops. So reach out to your industry to see what kind of information you can get back. By and large, anytime we are looking to sell our business, it's really important to have your financial statements in order. So your tax returns at a minimum for 3 years should be very clean and very easy to explain all of the revenues that came in and where those sources of revenue were, and the categories of expenses and what the net income was. You'll also want to look at that if it's a barber, that person might work in the shop, so whatever compensation you paid yourself, which is called owner's compensation, they're going to be able to add that back into your numbers, which increases your valuation because they're going to get that money because they're going to be working there. But 3 years of really clean financial statements and tax returns, really important. And then you just want to be able to get some sort of idea based on a barbershop of what the traditional valuation is, if there is a traditional valuation. And one of the things you could do is talk to other people in the barbershop industry that have sold barbershops. Maybe see if you can find some business brokers that are used to selling barbershops and see if there is a formula that they use as it relates to selling a barbershop or valuing a barbershop. That's where I'd start off. Okay, the next question comes from Christina, and Christina says, recommend or not posting other businesses as quote unquote things to do on our social media accounts on weekends. The background is I own a med spa in Southern California. On our social media person in-house posts 2 to 4 what's happening in our town this weekend, which highlights local businesses on Fridays. Is this recommended as networking because the businesses usually repost their story, or should we keep more to posting only our own business? I've got 3 different mentors answering this one for you, Christina. A lot of our mentors, in fact, I think I'm probably the most social media savvy mentor in the group. Most of the other mentors don't use social media for business like this. So I've got a couple answering that I think might be able to add something, but I'm not sure. They're going to try. I don't think there's a wrong or right answer with what you're asking. If it doesn't take that much time for your social media person to do it, and you do think that your audience gets a little bit of value from it and the other businesses appreciate it, and maybe you get some business from those other businesses from time to time, it certainly can't hurt. As it relates to social media or advertising or marketing in any perspective, it's important to take into consideration what your objective is and then take the whole of marketing and advertising, whether it's advertising organically to your existing audiences or paid advertising, to take the entire marketing strategy into perspective as you're thinking about things that you're doing. just as it relates to your post, I think it's a good networking thing. If it doesn't take that much time and it doesn't cost anything, I can't imagine that it's hurting your business. Are there things that you could be doing that could produce higher results? Maybe. And I'd certainly explore where you get the most bang for your buck from an ROI perspective as it relates to any type of marketing that you do. Okay? Hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Ricardo, and Ricardo says, how do you create a business partnership? The background is I want to know how to structure a business partnership. What type of legal advice should I look for when doing this, or is it based on a handshake or relationship? Any mentors with experience, I appreciate any feedback. Thank you. Okay, I've got 7 different mentors answering this for you, and I've got a lot of experience with this. In fact, I am buying into an LLC as we speak. And here is what I did, because I've got enough knowledge to be a little bit dangerous, and I know enough to be able to get the ball starting before I do get an attorney involved to finalize all of the documents. I've done business on a handshake agreement, and I've done legal arrangements, and I've had both of them be great and both of them not be great. I always prefer to do things legally when there's multiple people involved, so that there's no interpretation for what was said, what wasn't said. So it's always good to document everything. So I certainly recommend getting an attorney. But before you get an attorney, you could hire myself, or Dan Abate would be a good one, to talk about all of the things that you need to discuss and agree on with your potential business partner before you go to the attorneys. If you go to the attorney, the clock is going to start ticking, and you're paying anywhere from $250 to $500 an hour for them to just walk you through things. We could certainly help walk you through some things quicker and less expensive than dealing directly with the attorney. And then when you go to the attorney, you're going to be able to basically say, this is the document we want, these are the terms that we want, and it's a little bit easier for them to get it done, okay? What I did was, for here in Tennessee, since I'm going into business with an LLC here in Tennessee, is I just did a quick Google search of multi-member LLC operating agreements, Tennessee, and found them. And the website that I found it on was, let's see, well, this is a Tennessee website, but it was, it's a national website. It's called eForms. So eForms.com. And I found a multi-member LLC agreement, operating agreement. So basically, in that operating agreement, it has all of the legal terms that are needed to form an operating agreement between you and your partners. And so I printed that out, and I highlighted all the areas that me and my potential new partners need to discuss and agree on before we go see the attorney. And so, yes, I do recommend getting an attorney to form to write up your operating agreement, your final operating agreement. And there's a lot of different talking points that you'll want to go over with your potential business partners. I don't want to get into all the details here, but there's a lot of them. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, the next question and the last question comes from Robin, and Robin says, do you think it is a good idea to offer original one-of-a-kind tiny art 2x3? The background is I'm working on a collection of 2 to 3 inch tiny colored pencil drawings. They take 10 hours. I charge $50 in a plexiglass frame. I am willing to get paid $5 an hour to get my brand out there. What do you think? Thank you. All right, I've got about 15 different mentors answering this one for you, because I think we all can understand just developing of a product. I certainly think it's a great idea to take a look at what you're charging for original and what you're charging for prints. One of the things that I would think about is, the Mona Lisa, if you've looked at the Mona Lisa, it's pretty small. It's like this big. It's not huge, and it's priceless. So size doesn't matter. Value to the person that's getting is what matters. If it were me and this was a long-term play for yourself, Robin, I would save the originals or I would charge, $149 to $199 for an original, because that's going to, when someone walks up and they see your originals and they're $149 and they like the piece, if you have prints of that original available, and the prints are in different sizes. So same small size, maybe a note card, maybe a 10 by 10, whatever, because you can take that image and put it on whatever size you want, right? You can get the original for $149 or $199, but you can get a print of the exact same image, but it's not the original, for $19.99 or $29.99 or $49.99, whatever it might be, in different sizes. There's a perceived value that I would want to take into consideration if it was an actual original. It's a one of a kind. The original. It's the most priceless part of your collection. So I personally, and this is just an opinion, I would put a much higher perceived value and cost on an original than a print. If I was an artist, I would get really good at, sorry, dogs out there. I would get really good at knowing how to get my original art scanned or photographed or whatever, so that I could put it on all kinds of different other things that people can purchase using that design, whether it's a t-shirt, a hat, a card, a note card, a thank you card, whatever it might be. I really think I want to be very careful of selling an original for something less than hundreds of dollars, if not even more, depending on how long you've been in business. So that's the way I look at it. I do think it's a great idea, but 10 hours, that's a long time for you to work on one piece for $50. So another thing I would take a look at is how can you speed up how can you speed up the process so that it doesn't take you 10 hours? Or is it just going to take you 10 hours? If it's going to take you 10 hours, I would think that you'd want to charge at least $200 to $300 for the original. That's my thought. I wouldn't sell the original, and I've seen them, and I have a couple of your originals, and I appreciate it. I wouldn't sell them for any less than $200 or $300. I wouldn't. I would get duplicates and prints of them and sell them for less expensive. I would take a look at what the acrylic costs, what the time you put into it, how much the print costs, and then I might charge 200% or 300%. But I wouldn't. That's what I would do with the originals. Okay. I hope that helps. All right. That's today's mentor session. Get in and ask some more questions here in the mobile application. Remember, when you ask a question, I'm going to answer all of them first, and then I will let you know which mentors are going to answer the questions as well, and you'll get answers from them throughout the month. Okay? Hope you have a great day. Peace out. Thanks a lot.